Alright, last video talking about exponents for beginning algebra 1.4. We're talking about exponents and order operations. We're going to talk about evaluating these last. And you know what, I tell you what, I'm going to apologize. I don't think this is the last video because we're going to do more evaluation of exponents, and then we'll talk about order operations in the next video. So, evaluate exponents. So here's our first page. We've gone through this. Base and an exponent, what the terminology is, base and an exponent, special terminology. We've talked about the base and the exponent. It's really important to remember that those are kind of like an old married couple. They go together, always go together, the base and the exponent. Exponent tells the base what to do. So let's evaluate these exponents. If we're talking about evaluating exponents, we're again going to talk about finding a value. Finding a value if we evaluate. So keep in mind this is the -1 outside. The base is 7 cubed. -1 stays outside, and that's if there's no exponent written, we have to understand that there's an unwritten 1 as an exponent, telling us that we're only going to use that base, multiply it by itself just once. The 7 cubed, the cubed works on just the 7, positive 7. So here's our base, 7 times 7 times 7 because it's cubed. 7 times 7 times 7, 49 times 7 is 243, and that's a negative sign in front. I hope I did that right. Alright, so there's our first evaluation. -7 cubed, the negative stays outside of the evaluation. And the 7 is our base. And I think I've done this wrong. I think it's -343. My calculator just told me that. Alright, let's do this one. Different question. This one says my base is -6 because it's inside the parentheses. Inside the parentheses means the whole thing is the base. So I evaluate this as -6 times -6. My base is -6. My base is -6. And the exponent tells me I'm multiplying by itself 4 times. So -6 times -6 times -6 times -6 gives me negative times negative is positive. So this evaluation is positive. This is positive as well, because negative times negative is positive. So positive times positive gives me a positive. Usually we don't write this, but I'm going to write it down because we are just for edification purposes, just for clarification purposes. 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 is 36 times 36, and that's 1,296. That's my evaluation. If you're using a calculator, make sure you put the parentheses around the -6. Up here, if you're using a calculator, make sure you put the negative sign outside of the parentheses, and maybe make the 7 a parentheses, just a parentheses around the 7. If you evaluate this with a calculator, this one in blue on the top and the second one in green, make sure that you get the correct sign on these. The blue one, the top one, should be negative. The green one, the second one, should be positive. Make sure that if you're using a calculator, you come out with the signs correctly up here. Alright, well, let's go down here, I suppose, and see what we've got for 2 to the 4th power times -3 squared. Well, I got 2 to the 4th power, means I've got my base of 2, multiplied by itself 4 times. Times 2, times 2, times 2. There's my red. I'm going to underline that red, just in case, or just once, just in case people are colorblind. Some people might be. Alright, or have a color, or don't have a color monitor. Here's my -3 squared. My base is -3. I'm multiplying it by itself 2 times because my 2 tells me I'm multiplying just the -3 2 times. The 4 tells me I'm multiplying the 2 by itself 4 times. So -3, oops, that should be a -3, sorry. It's hard to talk and write sometimes. Now we just evaluate 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times -3 times -3. I've got a 9 times 4 is 36. 36 times 4. I'm going to pull out the calculator. 144. And it should be a positive 144. All these in red, positive, 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 positive. The two blocks together, negative times negative gives me a positive. Positive times all these positives can be a positive. Alright, the last one. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to go back to, I guess, blue. Gonna have to start here. again with blue. I'm going to evaluate that one. And that'll be double underlined, I suppose. Let's see. I've got in this blue part, I've got a -1 sitting outside of my base. My base is 2, and the exponent of 2, that exponent of 2 tells me I'm multiplying my base by itself twice. Negative stays outside. Now keep in mind, for this, -2 is inside the parentheses, so that is my base. So here I've got -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them because I have my exponent of 4 telling me to multiply my base by itself 4 times. Alright, now we just simply evaluate all this. Well, let's see. Let's evaluate the signs. Negative times negative is positive, times negative is negative, times a negative is positive, times another negative, I've got negative. The entire evaluation should be negative. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 2 to the 6th power, and I got 64. Right over here, I've got -64 is my evaluation. If you're plugging this in the calculator, it might get kind of busy and messy. Make sure you're putting the parentheses around the -2 here, but the parentheses don't go around the -2 here. So if you wanted to rewrite this, you could say it's -2 to the squared power times -2 to the 4th power. This could be rewritten as that if you're going to put it in the calculator, because that negative sign comes out in front. Alright, there's our evaluation of a couple different exponential expressions.